It's that time of year. I mean, there's some holidays and stuff, but we're talking about the trade of the year nominations, and it's the final episode for our final three nominations for Trade of the Year award. So sit tight. We're going to talk about a lot of trades tonight, and we'll announce from these trades we're speaking tonight. We'll give you our three finalists for the coveted Trade of the Year award here on the Dynasty Six Pack. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dynasty Six Pack. Episode 42, our 2025 finale, final episode of the year, and it's a great one. We're talking about trades of the year. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Senra. Joining me are my co-hosts. First, we have Rahul Natarajan. Rahul, how are you doing?
Doing very well, Kyle. Good to see you. Good to see Jamie as well. Super excited for this episode. Just looking through all the trades submitted in the our show sheet. So thank you all for your submissions. I think discussing real trades is always a great exercise to do. Because you can only get so much from looking at rankings. Like I know we love to use KTC and bash on KTC, both for valid reasons, but in each league, exists its own market, and just looking at what happens in actual leagues, I think just tells you a lot about trading and shoot your shot at the end of the day. So I'm very excited to get into this episode tonight.
Well, we love interacting with our viewers, listeners, and anyone who wants to comment on our anything, whether it's through the Discord, through the YouTube channel, just any interactions we get, even on Twitter. Phenomenal, fantastic. And frankly, a lot of these trades were brought to us by Mr. Jamie Perog and all the great interactions he has with everyone, it seems, in the world, but certainly in the fantasy football community. So, Jamie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. As you can see, I'm still here on screen. So clearly nobody was dumb enough to trade for me. But the listeners, yeah. Y'all actually submitted trades that should actually come with a wellness check from your opponents. Some of these are absolutely just unhinged trades. So stay tuned and let us know which trade you think was actually the best that we talk about tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Again, be sure to leave comments. And I don't know why I welcome Jamie to the show. It's his show. Again, welcome the co-host here. Oh, yeah, Jamie does probably the most work. He's probably the show MVP. But that's not the award we care about. It's Trade of the Year. So, again, mentioned a lot of mediums. We got the Fancy Six Pack YouTube channel, the Fancy Six Pack Discord, places, again, you can interact with us. All this is possible because of fantasysixpack.net. Thank you, Joe Bond, founder of the website, creator of all things Fantasy Six Pack. So, check out the website. And if all the articles, all the Discord channels, and the YouTube channel aren't enough for you and you want even more, you can also get the All Access membership. The F6P All Access membership is available at a 15% discount when using the promo code F6P Pods, F6P PODS. Again, for that 15% discount on the F6P All Access membership. Everyone has all access to submit their trades, and we've had 11 submissions that will announce the three nominees from this submission list to join the three host submitted finalists or nominees. So we're gonna have six trades going in to battle for Trade of the Year, and we'll let people know how to vote on those after the fact. It'll be something to look forward to, kind of interesting interaction early in the new year before we return. But we're still, forget the new year. This is still 2025. So what were your viewer submitted best trades of 2025? So trade number one, pull it up on the list. But so trade number one is actually, funny enough, brought to you by someone from Going for Two, the founder of Going for Two, Mr. Jeff Lambert. And no kickers in the trade, don't worry about that. But it's funny that it's Going for Two, yet it's a 1 QB league. And so we're going to be organizing the trades by format tonight, and starting with a 1 QB league. It's a 12-team 1 QB PPR league. So classic old school football, I guess in this case, dynasty football. So Jeff Lambert, in his trade, on one side, we have quarterback Drake Maye. On the other side, 2 26 second round picks. So
late second. So one of them's the 207, and the other one's going to be even a later 2026 second.
So I'm guessing the 207 probably belonged to the team that was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. Like that's established, and then we get the last four. Because he said 12 team, right? So the 209 through 212 are to be decided in semifinals and finals weeks. I'm guessing that's the reason.
I absolutely love this trade. Getting Drake Maye. I would give up Drake Maye, or no, I would give up my first round pick for Drake Maye in a single quarterback league.
I mean, we'd give up a first round pick in a Superflex for Drake Maye, right?
Multiple first for a
exactly, right? So easily give up a first in just a single QB, right? So I don't know if Jeff mentioned when this trade happened, but I'm pretty sure I remember him talking about this is something that he did before the season, before Drake Maye's big blow up, and that'll be kind of a theme is that some of these trades happen during the NFL season, some of them happen before the season, and maybe that's how. Now, oh man, this value seems skewed. Well, maybe it made more sense then. Before Maye's breakout. I mean, Jamie was calling it. I was ranking him at QB 17. So, man, I'm the idiot who would have probably just taken 2 seconds for him.
So, for reference, I got Drake Maye in a single quarterback league before the season started. I gave up my second round pick, which I knew it was going to be late, and I also threw in Brian Robinson. And at this time, it was back in like May, where
he was still the lead back in Washington.
Yes. I didn't care if he was a lead back. I just wanted Drake Maye. And I would have, if he wouldn't have accepted that, I would have offered my first round pick, which would have been probably like the 108, 109, the 112, whatever it was. I didn't care. I just want Drake Maye on my team.
And, Rahul, we're taught that, like, okay, one QB, you tend to devalue the quarterbacks, but you also throw it out the window when it's the true difference-making quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, for a one quarterback league, like, to go as high in pick value, like, I don't think it's too far off for Jeremiah Love for Drake Maye, assuming, as it seems to be, Jeremiah Love, the running back Notre Dame, is likely to be 2026 101. I don't think it's too far off if you think of where like Josh Allen like went in one QB startups at the start of the year, and probably where you'd still rank him now. So given 2 seconds, 207 and 209 through 212, I think that's a great return to get a quarterback that's going to lead this team and be an elite option at that level. I don't think we need to talk about this one too much more because we've talked about Drake Maye so much. I do want to say Jeff said for his own 2026 second, which is the 207. So commiserations, Jeff, for getting knocked out last week, which happened to me in too many leagues this past week 15. But otherwise, great trade, and I think you'll be happy for years to come.
For reference, I would put Drake Maye around like the James Cook, the man, who else is that running back? James Cook.
Because part of my thinking is in one QB, the QBs are devalued, but so are the draft picks. The real good commodities in one QB are the elite running backs, wide receivers. But that's, I mean, we're talking like you're talking QB2, Jamie, QB3, whatever it is. Like that is, that like even in one QB, those elite guys stand up, and maybe they're not the first round startup picks, but they're going to be pretty high up in value. So actually, James Cook probably makes sense.
The QB1 or QB2, like which is Drake Maye, in my opinion, would be valued around the RB8. And I actually think Jeremiah Love is going to be like the maybe 6 going into the year, depending on what team.
Probably where a Hampton to Genty in between there.
I think this is a huge discussion that I was going to open up to say, like, did Genty ruin it though? Like, Genty is going to make people like, ooh, maybe we shouldn't get too excited about someone because as much hype as we think there is, like, there's always a downside. But yeah, the downside with Drake Maye before last year was the breakout hadn't quite happened, and we're seeing the rushing yards, but I believe he only had 2 rushing touchdowns, so we didn't quite see the ceiling weeks necessarily coming. But he's put together both. He's had a great floor, but also great ceiling performances too. So yeah, Drake Maye.
In a single quarterback league, I would give up my 103 for Drake Maye.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like I even think like for Maye and Allen, like giving up the 101 for them is fine. Like you're getting arguably the best quarterbacks, right? So like they're going to score the most points. So like that will help you win. Like again,
so Jeff
It's
Lambert.
tough to value, right? With one QB. Let's stop talking about one QB leagues, right, guys? We love Superflex leagues, so we want to get that out of the way. Again, thank you for the trade, Jeff. Now, we're going to get to a trade from Michael West submitted on Facebook.
Yes.
One side is Bryce Young, and the other side is a 2026 first. I guess quickly, I'll mention that because this team was eliminated from the playoffs, the 26 first is the 101. So the trade is Bryce Young for the 101 in 12-team Superflex league. Jamie, what side would you take?
Absolute steal for that 101.
Rahul, what side would you be taking? You agree with Jamie?
Yeah. I take the 101 side here easily.
I mean, again, quarterbacks rule. I get that with Bryce Young, but the flexibility of what that 101 could be, it could be a quarterback, right? But it can also maybe help you trade for a quarterback you want more easily than Bryce Young can. So the fluidity of it is really the appeal. But go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, it just seems to me like that. Like he didn't know it was the 101 when he made this trade.
Yes, we should say this trade happened before the season as well.
Yeah,
so
before the season started. So you didn't know where it was going to be. It could have been the 112. But I still would have gave up Bryce Young for the 112 because he's outside my top 20 quarterbacks. And I just think the value, any first round pick is more valuable than Bryce Young. But the fact that he got the 101, I think you have to add like a Garrett Wilson, a Ladd McConkey, a Tyler Warren, Nico Collins, like people like that, James Cook, just to even out this trade a little bit.
I don't know if I think a lot of those pieces, because like I think I'd take Nico Collins over the 101 on its own. So I don't know. Some of those are getting a little too extreme. Like Tyler Warren, I'd probably take over the 101 on its own, right? So
yeah,
but
I take Garrett Wilson over the 101. Yeah.
But to your point, Jamie, like if you tried to do this trade today, you would be able to get the 101 straight up for Bryce Young. You'd have to add something else of significance to Bryce Young, maybe another like a late first in Bryce Young to get that 101, right? Like it's and I find it interesting because clearly like the random 26 first before the season has gone up in value drastically because it's turned into the 101. But has Bryce Young gone up in value at all since the start of the season?
I think he's gone up a little bit, but not by much.
Not enough to justify how much the pick has risen.
Ceiling's not that high. That's why I need to add someone like a Garrett Wilson and Bryce Young to get the 101.
See, I almost think the floor isn't that high because he doesn't run enough. Like he can have these games where he throws several touchdowns and he can have like the weekly ceiling can be pretty high, but the down weeks are also quite present. So his consistency isn't great. I think that's actually the bigger problem. And maybe that is coming with the rushing yards. Also, again, it's not Josh Allen's ceiling either we're talking about because the rushing touchdowns aren't there enough. But it does feel like, well, you feel like he's more secure in his job. Like before the season, we wouldn't have been shocked if by the end of the year the Panthers were benching him or moving on. And now it feels like is he likely to get to that second contract with Carolina? Do we feel like that's the direction it's moved in?
It's interesting you say that because I was going to talk about Bryce Young's job stability, and I actually think, last year was very tumultuous. He started the year, got benched for Andy Dalton, and then came back and played well in NFL terms and, did some stuff in fantasy, mainly because he was rushing a lot more than we would have expected out of Bryce Young, the prospect, and someone of Bryce Young, the stature, certainly. I think this year has been up and down to where I don't know if we're more confident really than we were at the start of the year that he's the long-term quarterback. Now, the Panthers are certainly in a better playoff likely position, and that contributes a lot. But to the overall fantasy points, like I don't think his value has changed too much from where we valued him at the time of preseason. And if anything, there's a little less optimism because we've now seen another 4 months of Bryce Young, and he's maybe not that guy that was really dicing up a lot of defenses. Like his deep ball percentages decreased quite a lot. They've had a lot of just strange results. He might not be the QB of the future. So that's all to state. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So I guess to Jamie's point, he's probably ranked pretty close in quarterback rankings to where he was before the start of the season.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have him actually a little bit lower. So right now I have him at 24, 25, maybe 23, depending on what Kyler Murray does. So would you trade straight up? To me, this is like giving up Amari Hampton or getting Amari Hampton for like a Michael Penix straight up. Tua for Hampton. Because Jeremiah Love, if he is the 101 and he's a top 6 running back, and you're trading him away for a guy like Michael Penix, Bryce Young, even a Shedeur Sanders at this point, I think that's great value, man, because you're getting a guy that's going to be a top running back and giving away a quarterback that's not even really a super flex play. Someone that you might not even want to play in your super flex.
Well, yeah, I think, So I mean, good move by Michael to again have the foresight to just trade away Bryce Young for first. I mean, I traded away Bryce Young before the season, much earlier than the season. It wasn't just preseason, but it was a salary league. There was other constraints. I guess the one thing I would love to know the context of Michael is how many other quarterbacks did he have? Because when I traded away Bryce Young, I had Patrick Mahomes, JJ McCarthy, and Geno Smith. So it's like, okay, Bryce Young's a 4th quarterback. He's got so much salary that just to salary dump, I traded him for Rachaad White in a 4th. I didn't make the playoffs, by the way, so I don't know if it was a great move or not. But ultimately, I was able to sign Lamar Jackson. Like that was part of the saving that much money was to be able to. And I cut Patrick Mahomes once revealed like Lamar was in the auction. Okay, well let me go get Lamar. So got rid of the Bryce and Mahomes' salary would have been more than what Lamar was making, or that I paid Lamar this year. So it was okay. That's the reason I did that. I would have loved to get a first, but there's no way that was going to happen, right? Like his salary and like, obviously when it comes to salary, it does tend to change the values a little bit, especially values of the picks. So I'll just say, great job, Michael, because the 101 is way better than Rachaad White in a 4th. So good for you.
And certainly better than Bryce Young.
Oh yeah. It's like the $50 of cap space. That's what it was. Or the $40 of cap space was worth more than Bryce Young. But yeah, anything else to say about this trade, guys?
Absolutely awesome.
Awesome trade. I'd love to see the roster of the team with the 101, which not to poke fun, but it's like when you see these wild swings and picks, being able to assess your league mates' teams is also a skill in itself, and that can lead to these trades that we see and now evaluate and have in the conversation for trade of the year. So great job.
Because again, like if it's the 101, it's going to cost a lot more than trading for a pick before the season when there's so much hope and every team thinks they're contending.
Or if it's early first, the first of a team that's taking, right? Like it's likely that this is a pick from someone who thought they were in some sort of playoff contention, if not a strong contender. Because otherwise, in the preseason, that would have been too much to give up for, a top 5 pick or I guess it's 26 pick, but too much to give up for Bryce Young. But anyway, great job, Michael.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what he ends up picking with that 101. If it's Jeremiah Love or he selects a quarterback, or again, could just also trade the pick and for a huge value. Because we love trades. Trades never stop. We're going to get to another trade here. So we have from Teddy Salad on Sleeper. This trade involves Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and a 26-second on one side, with CeeDee Lamb and Torrey Horton on the other. It's a 12-team Superflex PPR league, which is the formats are kind of sticking to here. So, quick takeaway, the Ram stack for CeeDee Lamb is the biggest pieces. Rahul, which side are you taking here?
I'm taking the side with the Ram stack, the team that got Stafford, Puka, and the 26-second.
Jamie, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Stafford Puka side also, because there's not much difference between Puka and CD.
Exactly. So it just that was going to be my take. If you take them out of the trade, Stafford in a second for Torrey Horton. I mean, my question was going to be, would you, in a super flex league, would you even sell Stafford for Torrey Horton in the second? Like you switch sides with the second, would that even change our opinion here? Are we still taking the Ram stack? Because I'd still take the Ram, even if the second moves sides.
I'm still
Yeah.
taking the Rams
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my thinking is like, yeah, if I was trying to buy a quarterback, Horton in a second would be a really great way to, like a cheap way to buy a quarterback. And I don't know that that's enough to get you Stafford. So for it to be on the other side, I mean, and again, I'd be curious to know when this trade happened. I'd imagine this was also potentially a preseason trade because the way this is valued kind of makes it seem like CD is the best asset in the trade, right? Like the way, structurally he should be, if that's what it is. If Stafford in a second equal Torrey Horton, well, there's an imbalance. There's got to be an imbalance on the other side that should go in favor of Lamb. So when would that have been? It would have been, again, preseason. Before the year, we were talking about CeeDee Lamb as the wide receiver 3 in Dynasty, right? And so more expensive than Puka, but suddenly Nacua's had this incredible season. I think he's the wide receiver 2 in points per game this year, better than CeeDee Lamb has, and that's been enough to where I know in my Dynasty values, like I'm debating Nacua, Jamar Chase as the wide receiver 1. So at this point, I'd almost say like it's flipped to the opposite, but certainly they have to be considered like equal in value. So, but
Not even
right now,
right now, if I had this trade, I would want like a Loveland or like a Laporta type, or even like Travis Hunter, just thrown in on that
on the
CeeDee
Lamb side. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
just to make it a little bit more even. But like we said, we don't know when this trade happened.
And I mean, preseason, we were concerned with Matthew Stafford's back, right? Like, and he's gone through and he's been one of the healthiest quarterbacks. He hasn't missed any time. So,
And a lot of people had CeeDee Lamb at number 3, and Puka was more at like 6, 7. So,
yeah, I'm pretty sure my preseason rankings, Lamb was at 3, and I'm pretty sure I had Nacua at 6 or 5. I'm not sure. Well,
6 or 7.
I ruined it, right? Yeah, but no, I was trying to be honest. Like, I'm not just gonna make it for the joke. Because I remember my 7 and 8 were Nico Collins and Brian Thomas. So, yeah, no, 6 and 7 were never in the same tier.
Puka was in my 6 or 7.
Okay, there we go. Are we gonna say that joke how many times? Between 5 and 8 times? Which I've been asked.
Or maybe 6 or 7 times.
Well, not or. That is the same thing I just said, because that is between 5 and 8. But between wide receiver 5, wide receiver 8, wide receiver 2, one we can all say again, Lamb to Nacua, again, pretty equal. Again, right now, I'd rather have Puka than CeeDee Lamb. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then you get that stack, which is incredible. I mean, it could be any other quarterback that's, I guess, producing like Stafford. He's producing a top 5 quarterback, so it'd be tough to, because how else are you going to get a top 5 quarterback, right? Like you look at all the other. I mean, Josh Allen, he's almost unattainable.
210 to 212, like that 210 or 212, that could be a major game changer. Because look who we got last year with that pick, and the year before. Like there were some game changers.
Were there some game changers in the late second?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have it.
I mean, if you got Tyler Shuck, maybe like if you like
Tyler Shuck.
We were laughing at those picks, but like,
but certainly not Jack Besh, Terrence Ferguson, Mason Taylor, like who Jalen Milroe. I mean, we're getting off topic, but Tyler Shuck though is at least a value gain. The rest, meh. But still, I take the second though.
The Terrence Ferguson, but that's a future next year. Mason Taylor. People like that. He was going late. Brayshaw Tootin, I got it at 212.
Yeah, that's.
We got a Cam Scatterbo in the going for 2 league at 212.
Oh,
so
okay,
that's a bit later than we usually saw Scatterbo. I mean, you might get lucky with that within it. I mean, I think there were leagues where like one of the receivers would fall, like maybe a Trey Harris or a Jayden Higgins might fall to the late second. But again, that late second could be a complete wasted pick, and you're still happy with getting that Ram stack. Again, like how cheap can you get a top 5 quarterback? Because I'm looking at the top 6 right now. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, a little more attainable now. He's torn his ACL, but like still, like while he's playing and giving you top 5 numbers, it's so tough to get him. Drake May. Again, you maybe done it preseason. You could have got him cheaply, but Stafford, Dak Prescott, and then Jalen Hurts. Those are your top 6 QBs, and maybe could have got Prescott at a cheap price, but this is probably again, aside from Nacua Lamb, this is like the cheapest way to get a top 5 quarterback that I've seen in a super flex.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a top 5 in production for 1 year, I don't think we're expecting Stafford to retire this year. I also don't know if we expect him to do this kind of season every year. But even just to get 1 year of top 5 QB productions, that seems worth it alone. Just to, again, even if you switch the second around, I'd still make that trade. So great job. Good job, Teddy Salad, for, again, getting that Stafford Puka side, and you can have a Ram salad. What a bad joke.
Like it.
All right, so we're going to move on to another Superflex. Again, 12-team Superflex, the format we're sticking with right now. Working Bread gave us, again, this from Sleeper, 3 different trades. And we're not going to necessarily go through all of them, but this is interesting to kind of build up to this. Working Bread started with just the 105. And so this trade is back in, I assume, May or whenever the rookie draft was. But turn that 105 into like 5 startable assets that you've used this season. And so it all started with selling some older pieces away to get the 109. So suddenly you have 2 firsts. So that's a win. Like, you can turn 3 guys that aren't worth a first, put it together in one trade, get a first. Like, that's brilliant. That's great. Then move back from 105 to 106, and that leads us to this trade here. Moving the 106 and Jordan Mason, with the 106 ended up being Cam Ward in the draft. So you get the 106 and Jordan Mason for Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Stephon Diggs, and Khalil Shakir. And then Working Bread, the follow-up is that 109 pick ended up being Emeka Egbuka. So you went from just having the 105, and again, a couple guys didn't even start for a good chunk of the year. And you ended up turning that into 5 startable assets, put together between King Henry, Etienne, Diggs, Shakir, and Egbuka with that 109. So Working Bread kind of just mentioned how they went from a rebuilder team. They were the 105, missed the playoffs last year, to first round bye with this team. So great job, Working Bread, to turn that all around. But what do you guys think of this trade?
Yeah, well, Kyle, I just got to say, I'm glad you got through that without mentioning the name Brandon Ayuk, which is, in the notes in tiny writing in this trade, but it saves us from going over some of my worst takes from earlier in the year.
For reference sake, he was one of those, again, initial players moved for that 109. I'll just say, I guess I was trying to spare you, but it's Brandon Ayuk, Chris Godwin, and Marquise Brown. And again, Godwin and Ayuk combined for how many games played so far this year? Like 6 or 7. I think literally that's what it is. That was my actual guess. I didn't just try to make that joke, but and then Marquise Brown, really, I mean, how many games have you wanted to start him this year? So you took 3 guys that barely get any starts out of, and you get Egbuka. So right away, that was great. But then this trade,
the fact that he was going to take Egbuka with his earlier pick, and then ended up trading back for him. He got Ferguson for free, and getting rid of Ayuk, Godwin, Hollywood for that 109, and he got 3 free thirds. Even without those thirds, just getting Egbuka for those 3 players, that is a steal right there. But going forward, what did he trade? He got Derrick Henry, Etienne, Diggs, and Shakur for the 106 and Mason. I mean, take Mason out of it, and that's awesome.
Well, again, those free thirds they got, you throw these onto that 106 and Mason. Even if you added these thirds to the trade, I'd still probably want the 4 starters that you're putting in your lineup almost every week. And
so honestly, from start to finish, this trade, you got like a free early first out of it, value wise.
Because I mean, I suppose I guess the question would be, well, I guess before I even get to that question, I'm thinking I don't see any quarterbacks coming back, right? So I'm guessing at this point, in spite of they felt like they were rebuild, but quarterback, it seemed like that wasn't something they needed. Like they were already set at quarterback. So because again, you mentioned Jamie, was working, Brad. I mentioned that they were already considering Egbuka even at 105, but certainly at 106. So, Cam Ward fell. Someone really needed a quarterback and was willing to give up all these pieces, maybe to, a lot of older pieces. So I'm wondering if that's another team that wanted to rebuild, again, missed the playoffs, or maybe didn't miss the playoffs. I don't know, but felt like they could rebuild around Cam Ward and you let this guy have a starting roster essentially. So certainly from a win now perspective, you love this. I mean, even just like turning 2 assets into 4, that's pretty good when, okay, maybe the dynasty value isn't great for any of them, but you look at the points scored total between all 4, that could be a compelling case. Now you got to make sure you win with this lineup, which Working Bread did. Got a first round bye. The regular season went as well as it could have in that case. So now it's all about winning the last 2 weeks, but certainly sets up the foundation. 3 great trades, but certainly in this one, I mean, Rahul, I know you were the probably the highest on Cam Ward going to the season. Looking at this trade, what side would you be on?
Yeah, looking at this trade, this is one where it almost gets a little bit more subjective, both in the preseason and even now. Certainly, you're not going to be
You're
able
a rebuilder in a Superflex. The number 1 asset in this trade probably is Cam Ward, in spite of his lack of success, right? But okay, I'm a rebuilder. I don't really care about points right now. I need that quarterback. I can see why if you had to just pick out one player this whole trade, that would be the best asset. It's just you give it the other guys in response to that, right? But I can see the appeal of Ward still.
Exactly. So it's a little bit. It's not as clear or obvious, I would say, what the winning side is, but why I like the side that Working Bread got here with even just the trade that's on the ticker, right? Isolating the 4 assets for Cam Ward and Jordan Mason. The proof is in the first round buy. Like, went from rebuilding to be a contender, and hopefully Working Bread goes through and gets that championship. But even so, it's a win for like the process of taking a team into contending shape. And now you've got 2 low end RB1s, and I don't know if I want to start things are here. We don't know the starting lineup size, but definitely great work to, I guess, identify how you could take that team to be a contender, and you're in great shape.
Yep. And in my opinion, when it's all said and done, I added up these values, and you got a free Trey McBride, Rashi Rice, Brock Bowers type, even a Caleb
Is that
Williams.
all 3 trades combined, or just in this
all
trade?
Combined. So,
so we can read those trades. So it's the first trade was.
I would put Egbuka in that trade, but you have Egbuka, so you got Egbuka times 2. You got
2 Bukas.
Egbuka, even with getting Egbuka. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, no, for sure. Like the equivalent
Bukas,
value of Egbuka, you basically doubled it up.
Every asset you gave up and every asset you got, I would have gave up like a Rashi Rice, Jonathan Taylor, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, just to even it out.
Yeah, you split that value between 3 trades, and that ups the value of each of those 3 trades.
So bravo, man, great trade.
I mean, don't stop working, Brad. Like, clearly something's working here with this team in this trade. So great job.
Well, he's in some leagues with me, so don't give him too much confidence. I still want to win.
Well, and I guess as we transition between 2 trades, there's a common player here, but Emeka Egbuka, and I guess just such an amazing start to the season. I think that up until maybe even a couple weeks ago, I was ranking him ahead of Tetairoa McMillan in Dynasty, but now with how Egbuka's fallen a bit to the end of the season, and especially McMillan's been producing really well, has it returned to what it was before the season? McMillan ranked ahead of Egbuka like we all would have had it before the year?
I think so. I definitely think so there.
I've approached that way in my rankings. I think they're both still in the top 15, but it's, McMillan's kind of ascending the last little bit too. Now, Travis Hunter, who we were all had ahead of Egbuka, he's definitely fallen behind and stayed behind Egbuka. He isn't caught up, but man, I mean, it's funny how, like, again, so cheap to acquire Egbuka, selling Ayuk, Hollywood Brown, and Godwin together, and that's what got you Egbuka. And just think, like, if could it? I guess it went as well as it could have for Working Bread because he's got the first round bye. But could this team be even better if he had sold Egbuka after the first month? Like, how many more win now pieces? Like another 4-for-1. Like, could you have done that and just rebuilt it a whole entire starting lineup?
I'm sure Egbuka helped him get to the playoffs the first 9 weeks. So yeah.
But now now it's the discipline, right? Like, is Egbuka going to help you in the playoffs now? Maybe he still will. Maybe he'll still be startable. But I do wonder if
next year and the year after and the year after that and 5 years down the line, don't get rid of him.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, that's what Jamie said. But anything to say about this trade, Rahul, before we move on?
No, well done. Working bread. He worked for that bread.
All right, so now we're going to get to another trade that involves Emeka Egbuka. So thank you, John McGorgan on Facebook. And we're actually going to start transitioning to a different format now. 12-team Superflex. Oh, no, sorry. Never mind. We're still not just 12-team Superflex PPR. My bad. Start 9. Sorry, read that wrong. One trade away. I was one trade too early there. But yeah, this Emeka Egbuka trade here, kind of a big deal. We've got Emeka Egbuka, Justin Jefferson on one side, for Malik Nabers, 2 firsts and a second. 1 first in 26, 1 first in 22nd, and the second is also in 27. So yeah, so Egbuka, Jefferson on one side for Nabers, 2 firsts and a second on the other side. Do you want me to add the other context before, or do you want to just focus on this trade first?
Let's focus on this. Yeah.
All right. So what do you guys think of this trade?
So this happened 7 weeks ago. So he traded away Nabers, but he got him back in this trade, right?
All right, so we're going to go with the context. Yes, so, yeah, 2 trades for Nabers that John shared. I guess I'll just say it here. The first trade was trading Nabers for Jackson Smith-Njigba, straight up. We talked about this on Dynasty 6 Mac when it happened, right? When Nabers was injured, be aggressive, right? Like, I advise being aggressive. I went and added first to Nabers to get Puka, right? So, I admire that this was a great, again, I added first and second to get Puka. This is a much better value. Just getting Jackson Smith-Njigba straight up, adding no leverage at all, and just being able to replace receiver 1-for-1. That's amazing. So great job, great way to find that trade, John. But then to come back and be able to buy back Nabers as well.
Yeah, and he sent him Justin Jefferson, who hasn't been performing, but we all know he's still a dog. We talked about it last week. And Egbuka is going to be a top 10 asset for years, but Nabers is above Egbuka, and Nabers can be in that same category as Justin Jefferson. But getting that 104, that's the pick that I want. I don't want the 105, 106. I want the 103, 104, because if I'm prospecting right, that's going to be a great pick at the 104 this year. But he also has the early 2027 first that could be even better than this year's class. And then the 2027 second, which is also going to be early. So I'm thinking he's getting a free 2027 second in this trade. So without this 27 second, I think it's an even trade, but he's getting that free second for 2027, and he could use these picks to pull the trigger to move up a couple picks to get the Jeremiah Smith. And that's what you want. You want ammo to move up in that 27 draft to get a Jeremiah Smith, because that dude is going to be a dog. So imagine if he gets Cordell Tate this year and then Jeremiah Smith the following year. This team's going to win multiple championships going forward. So I
always do tend to caution. Okay, that 27 first is early. We've seen teams completely disintegrate, but also teams completely look at Working Bread's team, right? We would have maybe thought this time last year, if Working Bread had traded one of his first away, we would have said, oh, early first. And then in one off season, he goes and changes it. No, never mind. It's the 112. Thought it was an early 26 first, right? So as much as, we think that 27 first is going to be early, teams can also change really quick in Dynasty. But you said something really interesting, Jamie. So you have Nabers clearly ahead of Egbuka. Do you agree with that, Rahul?
I think now in week 16, I think Nabers is ahead of Egbuka. Maybe 7 weeks ago, they're could about to have been flipped, but to the obviously injury and performance. But
yeah, there were definitely points I had
yeah.
Egbuka ahead of Nabers for sure.
Yeah, now I do have
Egbuka
Nabers ahead.
smashing. I've got Nabers at 9, Tetairoa McMillan at 10, and Egbuka at 11. So right at the very end of that wide receiver 1 range. So the way I see it, I'm viewing like Nabers and Egbuka almost as even, and then it's 2 firsts and a second for Jefferson. It's probably not how I want to spend 2 firsts, right? Like it's I'd rather buy 2 different receivers, like buy 1 receiver for 1 first, 1 for the other, as opposed to condense into 1 receiver, especially right now where I'm not really sure about his quarterback. Like seems like almost his best production days might be behind him, which is crazy to say about such a talented receiver like Jefferson. I don't know if this changes if it's Jackson Smith and Jigba. You switch Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jefferson in the 2 trades, if that makes a huge difference. I will say, go ahead, Jim.
John McGrogan is one of my close Facebook friends, and he did finish 13-1 in this league. He has a bye week. He had a bye week. So now, as the best team in the league, he also has 8 first-round picks in the next 3 years. So that's 2 in 2026 and 4
in 27
and 2 in 2028. So this team right here is going to dominate until the year 2032.
Well, I mean, how hyped that 27 class is already.
Future, and I looked at his teams, and he already won 4 championships in the next 10 years.
So, like, and I almost wonder if I take one of those 26 first and try and move it to 27 to get 5 picks. Can I get a 6? Can I get half the first round? And to that point, that's if you either have the pick to get Jeremiah Smith, or like you said, Jimmy, you have enough ammo to move up. So yeah, the team context of getting more assets. Like, okay, so in this trade, it's a 2 for 4, and really of those 4, the 27 second is like the least valuable thing, and it's like almost the thing it feels like a throw into this trade. Like it almost feels more like a 3 for 2 because everything else is really highly valued. But again, 3 highly valued assets versus 2 like that, and if he makes trades like that every single time, and again, like, or occasionally a 1 for 1 like the Nabers for JSN trade. Okay, injured guy for healthy guy, like this will help me win straight up and still keep dynasty value. Like making those type of trades in combination is really what helps you build a team.
And then having 8 first-round picks in the next 3 years, you can move up to the 101 with that ammo to get Jeremiah Love, and then the following year you could also get Cordell Tate.
I even think further than Jeremiah Love, Jamie. Is this the type of haul that lets you buy Josh Allen? Forget a receiver.
Ooh.
Can I get the best quarterback?
I don't know. I don't know what his quarterback room looks like, but I would skip that and just build off what you're doing, because whatever you're doing, you're doing it right, because you're 13-1. You only lost 1
good quarterbacks already. Right? Like, so, yeah. But all to say, like, you can get any asset you want, whether it's an upcoming rookie or a player that's already in the league. Like, you have the flexibility to make whatever trades you want, or at least if the other person just doesn't want to do it, fine. But like, some people like
you can
for
get
Josh
the
Allen,
101 this year, the 101 next year.
There's people like you can highly overpay for Josh Allen, they'll still reject it and say, no, he's staying on my team, he's dying on my roster, kind of thing. Like, unless you run into those types of situations, you could probably make any move you want. You at least have the ammo to probably be the highest bidder on a lot of these players, wherever you want.
Yeah, and I know John. He's a smart guy.
Well,
so
yeah, looking at these moves,
he's going to do right by this roster, and he's going to win multiple championships the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's knowing that you're probably not going to hit on. He probably doesn't want to make all 8 of those rookie picks because he knows he's probably not going to hit on all 8 of them. And by making the draft, you're sort of losing value if you pick the wrong players. Now, if you happen to pick all the right players, all the better. But it also does seem like clearly active in making moves to be able to, first off, get all these extra picks. Clearly, he makes a lot of trades. So you figure someone like that probably got these picks not just to make them all. He wants to make moves. At least that's what I would do in the leagues where like I try and accumulate picks. I don't plan on making them all. I want the aim just to make the moves. That's part of the fun. But yeah, talk about Malik Nabers, how because Egbuka has been disappointing, Nabers has almost risen in value, even though he's been out with the torn ACL. That being said, there's expensive ways to go acquire him, or cheap ways to sell him if you're adding first him to get Puka or getting JSN straight up. How about this trade with Malik Nabers? Well, first off, this trade sent to us by Kent Be Touched from Sleeper. So thank you, Kent. Maybe the value of this trade, maybe that'll end up being true. One side, Malik Nabers. On the other side, Devontae Smith, Quentin Johnston, and a 26th third. It is a 10-team Superflex PPR, and this is where we get to start talking about tight end premium leagues. So, Nabers for Devontae Smith, Quentin Johnston, and a third. Jamie, why would you take?
Such a steal, man. That Nabers side, 100%. So you basically got the 110 for free in this value. Because if you would offer me Devontae Smith, Quentin Johnston, and what was it, a 2026 third, and a 110, I'd be like, dude, Nabers side all day. But there's not even a 110 in this trade.
Rahul, what side would you take?
Yeah, I would agree with Jamie, and I would also take the Nabers side. Mr. Kent Be Touched here provided us the exact date of this trade, which is October 18th, 2025, which was right before week 7. And I think that's important context because this trade was made, the Devonta Smith, the Quentin Johnston side being sent away, made at what really feels like the peaks of those two assets' value. Certainly in like the near term, Devonta Smith is probably going to have a long career of, good to decent fantasy points moving forward. But at that point,
if AJ Brown is moved next year, I think we'll see a spike in Devontae Smith's value in the offseason. So that what I wouldn't be as worried about. But you're right. Like this was, man, Quentin Johnston at his best we've ever seen, and we're probably ever going to see out of him. Right? This was almost unsustainable in one injury, and he's back and he's not the same. But clearly, this trade happened after the Nabers injury. So from the other side of what you want, this is clearly someone who's trying to get pieces they can put into their lineup now because they couldn't put Nabers into their lineup. It does feel a little short-sighted from that perspective because like the team getting Devontae Smith, clearly a win now team. I don't know if Devontae Smith is a strong enough asset that it would have helped you win now. I think that's probably where we're all on the Nabers side, is that you get the idea of trying to win now, but it needed to be a better player than Smith, even if it was like Johnston and the third were a throw-in, but you needed that one asset to be better. Is that fair?
I think so. I think Devonta Smith around week 7, I've probably went on podcasts and said that it looks like Devonta Smith is taking over from AJ Brown is there. Kyle, you made a good point. AJ Brown is older, could still get moved, and that would spike Devonta Smith's value, but
probably not to where Nabers is valued though. That's
probably not to where Nabers value. Hopefully healthy off the ACL, which he should. It was an early season ACL tear. Jackson Dart heading into the new year. Hopefully they get the head coach, all the coaching hires right. But the hype is just going to be so high. Like in the last trade, Jamie, you said like Nabers has the potential to get back into that like tier of wide receiver where Jefferson was and maybe isn't right now, but he has that, like, literally Nabers could be we could open KTC and see Nabers at the 101, this time next year. I wouldn't be too shocked.
After
right?
week 3 of his career, I'm pretty sure Nabers, because he had those 2 monster weeks in like week 2, week 3 of last season as a rookie. So I'm pretty sure at that moment he was wide receiver 1 on KTC, even if it was just a temporary thing. So we've already seen him be that like true top number 1 wide receiver on KTC, even for a brief glimpse of time, maybe as brief as CJ Stroud's time at the top was.
Yeah, and Devonta Smith, like again, good player, has path to more value, but he's 27 right now. By the time the next NFL season kicks off, he'll be about to turn 28, November birthday, so he's a young 27. Sorry, Devonta Smith, who we're also
He's
all
probably
over
not ever
them.
going to be valued as a top 12 wide receiver.
Exactly. Like,
Already capped as like 15, right? Which is that's great. I mean, buying wide receiver 15, like you can get that type of production, type of value. That's fantastic. But Nabers is also that much more. And if the plus, so it had to be one of two things: either a better number one player in the trade than Smith, or Smith and a better second asset. Like, okay, two players that the combined value really does push to be better than Nabers, so that it doesn't, or even both, right? A better player than Smith and a better player than Johnson. It's a completely different trade, I suppose.
yeah, but I think this is a great trade, and I think the Neighbors side here wins in a landslide. So great work here.
Yeah, I guess the value can't be touched, right? Great job, guys.
There it is.
And it's funny how we're just talking about a Neighbors trade just before. I thought of the trades we've talked about in the show, the Jefferson Egbuka for Neighbors in the first, I thought that was maybe the most balanced trade we've covered. So that was very interesting. This might be the most lopsided. I don't know, maybe the 101 for Bryce Young. That might be tough to beat that one. Now, talk about trades with big assets. Could this be a nominee for trade of the year? We have Jayden Daniels in a 27 first for Josh Allen and Tony Pollard.
All right.
Is another tight end premium league. This one 12 team Superflex PPR, then an extra, it's a 1.5 tight end PPR. It's a start 10, 6-point passing touchdown, and also really rough shape at running back, wide receiver, which is funny because it's mostly the quarterbacks in this trade we care about, right, guys?
Yeah, so Dustin Rainey from Facebook. Appreciate
Thank you, Dustin, for the trade. Sorry. Thank you.
Yes, appreciate the submission.
I saw Josh Allen, Jay Daniels. I just have to get their names out of here.
He inherited this orphan team that's in really bad shape at running back and receiver. Getting Jayden Daniels in a 27 first doesn't really help you right now in a rebuild, giving up Josh Allen and Tony Pollard. So, like, I'm actually taking the Josh Allen side right now by a good amount. So, if it's like the 101 to 102 with that 27 first, then yes, it is worth it. But the fact is, the guy's getting Josh Allen. So you have to expect that Josh Allen team is most likely going to be a contender, and it's going to be a late first. And that's anything past
assuming this is their own pick, right? That contending team might also have already traded away their first, and this is someone else's first they acquired. Like that could certainly make it. Like, to your point, Jamie, if you're giving someone the first, or you're taking someone's first, but giving them Josh Allen, yeah, you have to expect that first is probably going to be late.
So, in my opinion, I think you lost out on like a Kyron Williams. You could have got a JJ McCarthy added in. You could have got a DK Metcalf or like a Kenneth Walker. Well, no, not Kenneth Walker, because that's not a rebuilding piece. A Luther Burden.
Well, I would argue guys like Kyron Williams might even be past where you want as a rebuilding piece.
So, in my opinion, like, yeah, get like a Luther Burden or like a Jaden Higgins thrown in, and then it would have been a little more even. So I think you lost out a little bit on this trade because you could have probably even got like a Jordan Addison thrown in. Like someone in that value-wise, not that specific player, but value-wise, I think you lost out.
Why doesn't anyone like Jordan Addison?
Good amount.
you will never convince us on Jordan Addison, but I completely resonate because, like, in a calculator, maybe the calculator will say you won with Jayden Daniels and we'll just say random mid. Maybe
no calculator is going to say that.
I wouldn't be shocked if a calculator said that, but I think you lost out on Josh Allen being like easily the most liquid asset in Dynasty, right? Like it's two
more
ways.
Than the 101, right? Yeah,
sure. Josh Allen is illiquid in the sense that it is so hard to find a trade that appeases the Josh Allen manager. So as the Josh Allen manager, he's a liquid enough asset to go and truly make like rebuilding team, orphan team, like game-changing moves. And I don't know if the tear down from Josh Allen here, like, it's like it's like not big enough of a tear down that I think the value has been maximized. Like, yes, you got Jayden Daniels at 27 first, but both, like, I don't think you could split those assets as easily into greater than like the sum of their parts, which you could do with Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen, it wouldn't have shocked me if you get Jayden Daniels and like an Omari and Hampton is like on the table for like someone who wants to buy like Josh Allen, like Jayden Daniels and like Quinshon Judkins, maybe to notch it down like just a little bit. Like those are the kind of things that I don't know. I think you could have got more for Josh Allen.
Now, this trade could have been made during a time where we thought Jayden Daniels was the top 3 quarterback with Josh Allen at 1, right? So if that's the case, then yes, I don't mind it. But like we moved Josh Daniels down to like what 5 or 6. So
he's certainly down. He's certainly down
so with
from
Josh
where he was.
Daniels being right now currently at
5, yeah,
maybe 5 or 6, and Josh Allen being at 1, I think you could have got more. But if he was the number 2, number 3, I think a couple of you guys with it.
Well, I mean, before he got hurt, right? Like, I mean, because
had him at 1, right?
I had him at 1.
Yeah,
you had him at 1.
I don't think Rahul did. I won't blame anyone else for that.
In that case, yes, I do like that trade. But right now, you have to consider where a few months past this trade, and it didn't work out for you that well.
Well, the thing is, this was made on November 4th, which is, I don't know if it's before the elbow injury, but it's amidst this disappointing season for Daniels, right?
Hurt ever since week 2, so everything past week 2 is post injury.
And so that, like, this didn't happen that long ago. This didn't happen at that time where Jayden Daniels, even if I didn't have him at 1, Jayden Daniels is like pushing that like Allen Lamar tier, like, you know, whereas he's, I think, certainly a step removed from that and the rise of, you know, Maye and not Mahomes anymore for me, but like it's a little bit tougher to palate right now. So I think at worst it feels like a balanced trade, but I think more could have been done with Josh Allen to improve like an orphan in a really, really bad state.
Now, my question to you guys: what's Tony Pollard worth? And really, I'm asking, like, what's the gap between Pollard and a 27 first?
Oh, Pollard. Yeah, like if you had to ask Pollard and a late second, I would have said, "Give me the late second."
Yeah, so he's at least a late second. Yeah, that's good.
So looking at this trade, he is by far the worst asset in the trade, right? And I think the gap between him and the 27 first, to me, is larger than the gap between Jayden Daniels and Josh Allen. Because as much as we're talking, okay, Jayden Daniels QB5, is he still a first round startup pick? I'm sort of asking rhetorically.
Oh yeah.
I thought he's without a doubt a first round startup pick. So I still think he and Josh Allen are pretty close from that perspective. So to me, this is all. I'm actually on the Jayden Daniels side, and maybe this is my Jayden Daniels colored glasses. But the way I see this trade, it almost feels like you're getting a free first out of it, because like you take out the quarterbacks, it's pretty equal. It's Tony Pollard for a first. Are you kidding me? I'm smashing and taking that first and running. So I think the gap between the two, because I would easily like throw Tony Pollard. I'm taking Daniels in the first over Josh Allen.
3 years from now. 3 years from now, yes. But as we sit right now, I just can't see giving up a first round.
To me, it's the right year as well. It's 27. Like that's the year you want to be collecting first. So especially as a rebuilding team,
but it's going to be a late
quarterback
first.
That, frankly, the only reason he's not the QB2 in Dynasty right now is because he's hurt. Like, I'm convinced as soon as he's back to healthy, I'm putting him back up to QB2 in Dynasty. Like,
well, I'm not, because I think he's going to get hurt again.
Well, and I mean, you like Drake Maye so much that I can see that, but like, you know, I mean, okay, take Drake Maye aside. Like, you've got Jalen Hurts with huge ceiling but really low floor. Jackson Dart, Lamar Jackson, those are probably the closest comparables to how Jayden Daniels play. They weren't less injury prone than Daniels was this year. So I don't know. I'm pretty convinced of Daniels. Once the season resets, to me, I'll have him back as a top 3 quarterback. And so that's, again, back to why the big gap here is the first of Pollard, and that's why I'm taking the Daniels side. But I'm glad we finally found a trade we actually disagreed on, because we've been in pretty much agreeing on every side up to this point.
Well, I mean,
Very true.
if it is the 101, 102, 103, 104 in 2027, then yes, I would take the Daniels side. But I'm assuming it's going to be the 108, 109, 110, 112 because the guy is Josh Allen and is going to compete.
Now, what else does he have, right? Because you could have Josh Allen and not much else. Like, I don't know. Like, I've seen Josh Allen teams not make the playoff. It's not an automatic for sure you have Josh Allen, you're a playoff team either. And I guess the one thing I'm concerned with, okay, you're trading to Josh Allen to be a contending team, and you're trading for Tony Pollard. You think you need to rely on Tony Pollard to be a contending team, makes me think that team might not be as strong, even just because they have Josh Allen. So I guess it's not knowing the full context of the teams. But again, we've also seen what looks like a strong team now next year could evaporate. So I'm not holding out hope that 20, because even if it's that's the 112 in 2027, that's so much more valued than Pollard is. And I guess again, that's the part I can't give up into where, man, if I saw this as a Josh Allen manager and you telling me I'm a rebuilder, okay, well, I get a quarterback that's not scoring points. So my first has a good chance to in 2026 be the 101 by making this trade. Where if I stick with Josh Allen, maybe I'm too good to be the 101. I'm stuck at the 105, 106. So by making this trade, is there also intrinsic value that I'm making my first better in 2026, and then now I've set myself up with an extra first in 27. To me, it's the type of structure you'd want as a rebuilder. Because like if I'm a rebuilding team, how do I get rid of Tony Pollard? This is a way I can make Tony Pollard transition into a first. I like it. I see the appeal of
it. Yeah. It's good. It's good. We disagreed. It makes for great content.
So this might be the closest trade then, if we actually disagree. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Like on the Egbuka Jefferson side trade, I was pretty close, but I think I would side with the Nabers in the first. Again, the three assets that you can use for flexibility. But yeah, all right, we found one. You know what? And we're talking about two elite quarterbacks, right? It should stand out as a potential trade of the year.
That's why I thought it was nominated, because even in our episode, right, it's a debate between what's the biggest landslide and what's like the biggest blockbuster, and this falls more in the blockbuster category than landslide.
It's funny because I put my trade in as blockbuster, but you guys like, landslide, way to get bodied, Kyle. So much so that Jamie left because he's ashamed that I gave up that much for.
He didn't want to hear about this Jahmyr Gibbs trade
over again. But anyway, before we get to the three trades that we are going to nominate for trade of the year, we're going to get through a few more that were submitted. We got 4 more trades here, but they're pretty quick because they're all pretty simple trades. And unfortunately, we don't have the format. So we're just going to kind of say it out. I mean, I guess my thing is to always just assume Superflex. Anyway, so Emeka Egbuka, talked about him so much today. Straight up for Josh Jacobs. This one is from Travis Maxwell on Facebook. And he said he basically got Josh Jacobs for Egbuka the week he got hurt and his downfall started. So, like, because Egbuka hasn't missed any games. Remember, there was that 1 week where he suffered the hamstring. They weren't sure if he was going to play, and he ended up playing. I've heard
on a Monday night.
He hasn't been the same since then. Like, if only they had let him sit out a week, maybe he'd be better now. But it does look, and I've noticed that with some rookies too, right? It's if they get hurt, they have a really hard time coming back and producing because they haven't. Like, okay, they're struggling to, maybe they're thriving at their full capacity to play in the NFL, but as soon as they're not at their full capacity, they haven't yet figured out how to succeed in the league. And I wonder if that's a bit of Egbuka. When he was firing on all cylinders, he's great, but now he's got this hamstring injury, not so great. So anyway, kind of giving the timing of about mid-season here, making a switch from Egbuka to Jacobs. So and there's a playoff match where it implicated, but from a dynasty perspective, Egbuka for Josh Jacobs, guys. What side do you want?
This, to me, reminds me of something we talked about last week about how people treat trades as a redraft. And getting Josh Jacobs for Egbuka is more of a redraft trade rather than a dynasty trade. Because if I strictly thought of this as a dynasty trade, I think you got ripped off giving up Egbuka for Jacobs. But since it helped you make the playoffs, that's free money right there.
Another example of someone with the first round buy. So Travis Maxwell. I mean, if you're going to make this huge win now trade, you better win. So at least Travis has
Yeah.
done that step and won enough in the regular season to get.
But it's not that much of a difference. So, like, I would say, give me like a Jaden Higgins, a Jaden Reed, a Tucker Kraft, Ricky Pearsall,
right?
type
Jacobs in a
like
second for
late
Puka.
seconds, something like that, just to make it more fair. But I understand why someone would make this trade to get a Josh Jacobs.
Now,
Just
from
to
a pure
win your
point
game.
scoring standpoint, you got all of Egbuka's best weeks early in the season, and now you're getting some good Josh Jacobs weeks. Now, to be fair, Jacobs also maybe dealt with some injuries, but he mentioned Travis did that played him. He played him a certain week. He played Jacobs against Egbuka. I think the week after the trade was made, Jacobs got 30 and Egbuka got 4. So in instant dividends that helped you win a week, right? Like even just helping you win 1 week sometimes is worth a trade, but how many more weeks does it help you win? And will that help him win in the playoffs too? So.
I mean, just
I'm not 100% sure if this is a dynasty trade, to be honest, because
I thought
Travis
that too.
Travis the one who submitted this, and Travis received Jacob. So I am gonna judge this with the doubt that it's dynasty and perhaps that it's redraft, because in redraft feels like a landslide win for the Jacobs team, but in dynasty, no matter the points, like Jamie said, like, this is a long-term game, and Egbuka is. I don't even know if a second plus Jacobs would still get me Egbuka in the form that he showed. That would almost be too short-sighted to be a move that I would not make myself as a dynasty manager. I'd always stay away from making a move like that. So
Would a first be enough? Like if it was Jacobs in a first, would that be enough for you?
I would say,
or Jacobs is not the type of player you're looking to get if you're selling away Egbuka.
It's more that when I try to buy contending assets, like maybe Jacobs falls in this category. If I'm buying a contending asset, I'm either blowing the bank and getting your Puka, your JSN, like your clear stud and dynasty value, or I'm spending. Or I'm spending as little as possible, and like recently did a trade where I got Javonte for a late couple of late seconds. I'm trying to spend that amount of cash. I'm either trying to spend a ton and get what I paid for, or spend as little as possible.
Buy it from the very top. Right, those are your first priorities, and I suppose like Achan might be like the running back equivalent.
Yes.
You get the both versions, so you get the win now points and the dynasty value, but you're not paying for like Bijan and Gibbs, right? Like, but.
Or I'm only paying for points. I'd
probably be pretty close to be willing to do that one straight up. Like Buka for Achan. Would you guys like? Would you do that one?
I take Achan on that side, but it's close. That one's close, maybe? Yeah. But I take Achan.
You'd be more willing to do straight up.
Yeah, but to be fair, with this trade, the way I did word it on Facebook, people were submitting redraft trades, and I could totally tell they were redraft trades. Even it clearly said dynasty in the post, but people were still going.
To be fair, some people just might not play dynasty, right? So they want to be involved. So this is the only
trade they have. I included this only because it is a win now versus giving up an asset for the future. So I thought this was a good trade to talk about because it did make him a championship run.
Yeah, and best of luck going forward, Travis. So we're gonna get to another trade, another 1-for-1. This one from Steve Davies on Facebook does mention Dynasty League. So we know this one's in Dynasty. Back in week 7, AJ Brown for Alvin Kamara.
This is freaking amazing.
Yeah, smash on the AJ Brown side. Like week 7, how are you like selling Kamara for AJ Brown, right? AJ Brown had a tough season.
Talked about the Devontae Smith peak in value. I guess might have been right around then where Devontae was outscored AJ Brown every week, right? And viewed as a
wasn't AJ Brown still outscoring Alvin Kamara?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, why would Kamara be the answer, right? Like,
I went to you and I was like, hey, I'll give you RJ Harvey and Kamara for AJ Brown. That seems fair. I'll give you a DK
I almost feel like you're spending that's too cheap to sell RJ Harvey. Forget Kamara. That's a whole other realm of trade. Kamara's the throw-in at that point. But this actually might be the most lopsided trade we've seen because
Yeah.
AJ Brown's going to outscore Kamara probably every year the rest of his career, and he's probably going to give you more seasons anyway. So it's like from a win now perspective, you want Brown, and from a rebuild perspective, you want Brown. So I just, at least with all the other trades, I can see the angle of okay, why you'd want this. Like, why would you want Kamara?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So great job, Stephen Davies, for got Kamara, gave up or got AJ Brown, gave up Kamara. Was this someone who was so fed up with AJ Brown that they just sold him for anything?
It had to have been because he wasn't doing crap in the beginning of the year, but now he's a league winner.
I mean, I know I traded him specifically to an Eagles fan, but I got Cortland Sutton in a first for selling AJ Brown week 2 before he even had a good game this season. So it just feels like this late in the year, selling for Kamara was a pretty bad move. So
yeah, Steve Davies, bravo. This was
ultimate victory for Steve Davies. Good
because AJ Brown's still going to be relevant for the next 2-3 years.
And I mean, here's the thing with AJ Brown. I wonder, okay, everything's not going great with the Eagles. If he does leave in the offseason, is there going to be a bit of a spike in value just from the excitement of him leaving? Oh, he's going to New England. He's tied to Drake Maye or wherever he ends up.
What if he goes to the Chiefs?
With who's their quarterback? Gardner Minshew? Like that seems less exciting. I think we're more excited for him to go to the Patriots with Drake Maye. No, but you're right. Like that could be a destination too, especially if we hear good news on Mahomes' knee and that he's going to come back for most of the season. But it does feel like there's going to be times to sell AJ Brown, even when normally a player of that age you'd have to wait till in season to get some type of desire for someone to buy him. There might be sell windows in the offseason just because he changes situation. So now if you have AJ Brown, you're almost hoping he leaves Philly just to get some excitement in the offseason, and that allows you to move him.
So
how are you going to move Kamara from here on forward? What's Kamara to the Chiefs? Remember how we always talk about every running back to the Chiefs being amazing? If Kamara went to the Chiefs, we even care.
He's going to retire a Saint.
Yeah, I know he said that too. But even if he wanted to go to a different team, is there any team he could go to that'll actually make his value worth even a second?
I agree. 31 years old? No.
That 27 class, especially because his whole thing is he was never the most efficient runner. Just tons of catches, tons of touchdowns. That's all we want from running backs. He never had a 1,000-yard season, and it didn't matter because he was amazing for fantasy because he scored touchdowns and caught passes. He's not doing either of those things anymore in New Orleans, so it's like just wasted touches every time.
I would give you Alvin Kamara for Keaton Mitchell straight up.
That's pretty bad. I don't even know if I go that far.
That's so bad because I have Kamara down at running back 60 right now, and AJ Brown is like a top 24 receiver still in Dynasty at his age.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
So great trade. Love it.
Great trade.
Right, so another one here. And we don't even know if that's Superflex or single QB. That one didn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter because it's a position for position without a quarterback. So
yeah, I mean, in one QB, those two positions are going to be more valued anyway. But yeah, no, you're right. So we got a draft pick here. So thank you, Steele 7515 from Sleeper. One trade here, we've got Tetairoa McMillan on one side for Cortland Sutton and a 26 second on the other.
Yeah.
Again, no talk of format necessarily, but yeah.
I'm assuming it's Superflex because I play in leagues with him.
I assume everything's Superflex unless I'm told it's one QB. So, I mean, and again, in this instance, it really just changes the value of what that second's worth. If it's one QB, that second really isn't worth much. In a Superflex league, you can understand that adds value justifiably. Steele 7515 mentioned he got Tetairoa McMillan. That'd be the side I'd pick. Sutton in a second. I mentioned I gave up. I got Sutton in a first for AJ Brown. I view that as kind of fair value. I value Tetairoa McMillan higher than AJ Brown in Dynasty. So Sutton in a first to me almost. I think that's about fair. But even then, I'd still maybe even pick McMillan. So certainly Sutton in a second. Hands down, I'm taking.
If it was Sutton in a first, it'd be a fair trade, but we wouldn't be talking about it on tonight's episode, right? But because it's Sutton in a late second for, that's
we can talk about fair trades on the show. It doesn't have to always be lots.
No, we only want rage baiting content.
Ted McMillan was taking in the first 5-6 picks in Superflex.
I mean, I very rarely ever saw him go past the 103.
The 103.
I mean, I was taking him at the 103 in a lot of instances too, so that's my own doing.
Getting Ted for Sutton in a late second, like I would have sold Sutton for an early second.
I think Sutton's outscoring McMillan this year, but probably not by much. Let me just verify to be sure, because I'm not even really sure. I think he is, but again, it's so minimal that like even does it even really matter?
So, in my opinion, like if you wanted to give up Sutton in a late second, I think you would need it to add like the 111, 112 to that trade to move up to get Ted McMillan.
In full PPR, Sutton has 13.5 points per game. McMillan's at 12.9, so less than a point, like 0.6 points per game is the difference. Like, is that?
But what's the age difference?
Exactly, like that's much bigger than the production difference you're getting now. Like, it's almost minimal. Like, they're almost giving you the same thing win now, and then the age gap of is Sutton 30 now?
I think so. Yeah.
He's it'll be 30 by next year. So,
in my opinion, that Sutton trade, you could have got. I mean, I would have added like the 110, 111.
Yeah, like I was saying, a Sutton and a first probably feels fair. But again, like for a guy like McMillan, this ascending asset, a top 12 wide receiver, you probably want more than fair. Like you probably want Sutton a first and a second to really push it, or else I'll just hold McMillan, right? Like, what's the motivation to sell McMillan at this point? You almost want him to get a different quarterback, right? Like, get a better quarterback than Bryce Young, but even like he's producing well with Bryce Young. So even if we go back to that second trade where we talk about Bryce Young as a long-term quarterback in Carolina, that suits well for McMillan. He's producing well with him.
Yeah, so in this trade, Steele is getting the long-term asset for the next 5-6 years with Ted McMillan. And all he did was transition from an older guy that's almost 30 and then giving up a second-round pick, a late second.
All you're giving up is a second and 0.6 points per game. Like, either of those things are worth enough to
trade,
say
Steele.
no. Yeah.
Good job. Bravo.
Yeah. Agreed. Anything else you want to say, Rahul?
No, let's move on to the next one.
Well, the last one, actually. So we have Riley Licata from Facebook. So on one side, we've got a 26 first, a 27 first, and a 26 second for Jonathan Taylor and a 27 second. So again, no format given, but 2 firsts and a second on one side. So 3 picks on one side, JT and a pick on the other side. Do you guys want to just, again, assume Superflex?
Yeah. Let's assume that.
So
no. It's single quarterback. I know for a fact.
Single quarterback?
Because I have something to tell this guy, but I want you to go first. It's single quarterback.
Okay, it is single QB because I was gonna say in Superflex, without a doubt, I don't even think Taylor's worth 1 first in Superflex, or like I guess he is worth 1 first, but like I would take the first, right? Like, older running back, especially now that we know the context of he's maybe not going to help you win at the end of the year because of the quarterback situation, right? Like, now, when was this trade made also adds the context. In 1 QB, feel like it's pretty fair because, again, I tend to devalue picks in 1 QB. So, like, I'm at a point where, okay, if it's a 1 QB league, I'd rather just have Jonathan Taylor almost everything. But you're telling me it's 2 firsts? That's probably pretty close to fair. I probably am still sticking with the pick side, but it would be like an overwhelming for sure in Superflex. Whereas in 1 QB, I'm kind of stuck on it's pretty fair. Am I devaluing the picks too much? Am I devaluing Jonathan Taylor too much?
I think you're devaluing Jonathan Taylor too much. We don't know the timing of the trade, but obviously now Jonathan Taylor is not the asset that was the RB1 for a long stretch of the season. And I don't know if he's still RB1 PPG, but he's not going to be. I doubt he's going to. Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be an elite RB1 in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be the RB2 in the next 2 weeks, right? But I think that's looking a little too much into like the specific result of it. I think paying 2 firsts for a difference-making RB1, I think that's a fair enough price to pay, and I think it's almost like you're getting an early 27 second for you're pushing your second by a year to push it up from late to early. I think you're getting that, like, is
Well, if
that
anything,
equal? I don't
if
know,
you're
but yeah.
if you're pro Jonathan Taylor side, I think the argument to make is that 27 is a better class than 26. Right? Okay, that 26 second, I've got to decide what to do with that pick in the next 5 months, whereas I've got 17 months, assuming the rookie drafts in May of 2027. But I've got 17 months to figure out what to do with that 27 second to move it before I
Mhm.
have to make the choice. So like longer flexibility of when you need it, but also everyone seems to think that 27 class is better. So you might, even if it's not better, the perception of it being better means you want the picks to be able to sell them, right? So at
Yeah.
this point, flat up, you'd probably take a 27 second over a 26 second. Even though I know we tend to think of, okay, values in years. Oh, if you lose a year, if you're waiting a year, you lose value in the pick. I've really stopped thinking like that. And because they ride in waves so much that what even at its peak value, whatever the 27 second or the 26 second ends up being, eventually the 27 second will get to that value, maybe even higher with the draft class, right? So it just feels like flat up if you even you take out the picks and it really is just JT for 2 firsts. I've talked a lot. Jamie, do you want to say anything?
So listen, he is trading to get Jonathan Taylor and his early 2020 second, right? But you have to remember that that 2027 first is a late first. So he's only moving back like 3 or 4 spots. So that first and the second in 2027 is basically even because they could be within like 2 to 3 picks. So he's selling getting Jonathan Taylor for a first round pick right now.
And a second, and a 26 second.
So you're saying like you basically say the 27 first and 27 second are so close to value. I mean, again,
it's a
we
late
think that it's going to be.
first.
We think that it's going to be, but things can still change in a year. Like, I mean,
Good,
Jonathan Taylor gets hurt
now as things fall because I looked up
27.
his league. I actually looked up his full league and I saw what team traded these picks. And it is, to me, a late 27 first and an early 2027 second. So those 27 picks are only going to be like 3 to 4 picks apart. And I promised him.
We think they're going to be a few picks apart. They might not be.
No, they are.
Chance like that. Well, no, I mean that team that like the 27 second belongs to, they could improve. Like they can make moves.
Nope, it's not possible. I looked at the team.
They just got 2 firsts, and they like their team is only going to get worse after getting 2 firsts. Right? They can't make any other trades with those firsts to make their team better. And I mean,
the fact is, it's a single quarterback league, and Trevor Lawrence is sitting on waivers right now. There's guys like
I don't know what to do with that information
on waivers right now. So
up the value of picks, or I guess it doesn't, because that means you can just get. You don't need to draft anybody. You can just.
How did you see how do you see this league? And I told him, I'm like, I'll tell you. And it's Dynasty Daddy. You go to Dynasty Daddy, and it will tell you what the teams are projected and who's on what team. And this guy has Terrence Ferguson on the waivers, along with Kyle Williams on waivers, who was a second round pick last year. And he's rostering a guy like Luke McCaffrey. I'm like, you need to drop Luke McCaffrey to go either get Terrence Ferguson right now before his breakout or Kyle Williams. It just doesn't make sense. Why would you have Shitter Sanders on your team when Trevor Lawrence is on the waiver?
That's true too.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So this team or this league is basic, and you can win it if you just follow our content every single week that we go live. We'll answer all your questions, man.
Okay, to Rahul's point, maybe I was overvaluing the picks a little bit or devaluing Jonathan Taylor. Just, again, recency bias. But also, I mean, I think back to, okay, this is Taylor's best season since 2021. 2022 did not go well after all that volume, right? So it is just that concern that, okay, this was the Taylor year to capture, so you better win with him because next year might not be so good. And now
it's still going to be good.
I mean,
it's Jonathan Taylor, man.
He could get injured and it's not good.
Yeah, we could have said that he's still going to be good. It's Saquon Barkley, man, after his RB1 year.
That's the thing, right? And Barkley's doing well enough, but is he going to help you win leagues? Now, I guess the problem with Taylor is with this current Colts situation, is he really going to help win in week 16, 17 this year, 2025?
Yeah. Yeah.
The debate.
That's valid.
But to JB's point, if you still think Jonathan Taylor could help you win in 2026, you're not just making these trades just for this year either. This is okay. This year, next year, like this is a window that isn't open to just one season. So that makes sense and has appeal.
I mean, I think it's a straight good trade. And honestly,
this is one of the more fair ones, I think, because we're kind of struggling picking the sides. So anytime we have disagreed on which side, clearly those seem to be the most fair ones. So
maybe
Daniels and Josh Allen, this one.
My opinion, I think you could have gave up like a Brenton Strange or a Trey Benson or like a Dylan Sampson type player,
on which
David
side?
Montgomery, just to make it fair. But
on which side? On the side of the first?
Yeah, because and I do think Riley, you did get the better value.
Me too. But good discussion yet again. You're right. So right about the fair ones make for the most interesting discussion.
Yeah, because I do think I am still on the first, but our last decision to make. So we've gone through 11 trades, and about a month ago, each of us submitted a trade to the award nomination. So those 3 are in as finalists. Now we have 3 more finalists to announce from these 11 trades here. So do each of you want to share which trade you have nominated for the Trade of the Year award?
Jamie, you go first because I just closed the doc and cannot remember. I need to pull up the guy's name. Give me 1 second.
My nomination for the Trade of the Year is definitely Michael West, my dude, in a 12-team Superflex preseason, sold Bryce Young for a random 2026 first, and it ended up being the 101. You can't get better than that.
You're nominating based on what is the singular best asset that's traded, or the singular best increase in value, and you see a big disparity between Bryce Young and that 101, which would be an even younger asset.
My nomination for the Trade of the Year, I think from the viewer submitted ones, this one is untouchable. It was made by Can't Be Touched. He received Malik Nabers for Devontae Smith, Quentin Johnson, and 2026 third. I think this is one of the biggest landslides we've seen today. And one of the bigger landslides I've seen in trade. I think it's a perfect capitalization on peaks in player values, consolidating assets to get an elite one. And now, all things considered, I think you've turned 3/4, maybe a little generous to QJ the third there, but 3/4 into a whole dollar. So very well done. Can't Be Touched. That is my nomination for the Trade of the Year.
And I think when I made my nomination on the previous episode, I was thinking big assets in the trade. It wasn't about overwhelming one side or the other. Inadvertently, though, apparently I did make an unbalanced trade. So I kind of, after last episode where both my co-hosts went with trades that they thought was a complete victory for one side, I was more influenced to do that here, because if I was picking like I picked the last one, I'd probably choose a different trade. But the trade I'm going to nominate for Trade of the Year is from Terry Salad from Sleeper, where he received Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and a 26 second by giving up CeeDee Lamb and Torrey Horton. Because I still felt it matched the big players, specifically here Puka and CeeDee Lamb. So I think those two being in a trade together really stood out to me right away. Maybe part of it was also seeing the Jayden Daniels, Josh Allen trade. We've already had a trade in the contest with Jayden Daniels in it, and so that one seemed more lopsided for Daniels. This one too. My co-host didn't even pick the Daniels side, so a fair trade. This one, I think, great overwhelming victory for Teddy to be able to get this Ram stack. And, again, if you cancel out Puka and Lamb, giving up Torrey Horton is a really cheap way to get a quarterback that's, again, producing as QB4, I think, this year, QB5. Crazy cheap way to get that much production. So, yeah, that's a great job. Great job, everyone. Great job. Thank you for nominating these trades. And what we're going to do is, this is our last episode of 2025. We'll be coming back at some point in January. What we're going to do is we'll let people get through the holiday season, and back in January, we'll be putting out these polls. Now that, it'll give people time to watch these episodes. We'll definitely be sharing them, but also give people that heads up coming back in January, that those first couple weeks, the polls will be out there, and you'll be able to vote on these trades, and eventually we'll return our first episode back. We'll announce the winner of Trade of the Year. So yeah, super excited to have this show really go all year. So appreciate that. And like I said, we'll be back in January. We'll take maybe about a month off, but recharge, refresh, and get back at it. Even though I guess I don't know if Rahul, you want to say anything before we leave?
Yeah, I mean, first I do want to say that I'm glad we've announced that this is at least our last show for a little bit, because the last week I totally gaslit the viewers of the fantasy cheat sheet and said we're gonna come back this week, and no, that was our last episode of the year. So yes, this great year, guys. 42 episodes, though I certainly had a couple of bye weeks here and there, but it's been a blast. Not just this episode, obviously, but doing this podcast, you guys. Recharge certainly needed. Hopefully fantasy championships first for the three of us and for all our listeners, and you too. I'm sure I'll be pestering you with start sits over the next couple of weeks, but if we don't talk, since this is the last episode of the year, very happy holidays, and yeah, thanks for everything, guys. It's been a great run.
Anything else to add, Jamie?
Just look into the future, because I know this guy, his name is Big Game James from the future, and he makes trades all the time. And when you look at 2-3 years down the line, it's like, how did this guy make these trades? So, for example, I traded away Loveland and Christian Watson and Kamani Vidal, and I got Genty Fannin in a trade. It's like, how did he do this? You just have to stick with the process, man. Make trades constantly.
Annoy people with so many offers that they just accept just to get you to shut up. That's my strategy anyway, and it usually doesn't work. But yes, but yeah, great, honestly, great season, guys. Like, I couldn't ask for two better co-hosts. So thank you for, I had this crazy idea to do a Dynasty show on Fantasy Six Pack, which I suppose isn't that crazy. It's a fantasy football channel. YouTube, lots of great content, so it's not like maybe not that crazy of a concept. But these two were kind enough to accept my invitation and be two of the greatest co-hosts I could ever ask for.
I appreciate you guys. I really appreciate both of you for not trading me for someone else. That's, you could have got better value out of a trade, but
last really couple weeks, Jamie's been carrying the show. He's been the Josh Allen of the show. Where
he's been Josh Allen. He's been playing hero ball.
We did listener questions last week, and you provide a lot of them. You provide a lot of these trades as well here, Jamie. So the hard work you do when you're on the pod, certainly between pods, it definitely doesn't go. It goes noticed. It doesn't go unnoticed. I almost said that.
I'm here for the listeners. So all you listeners out there, hit up the comments with the best deals and the worst deals. Give us your opinions. We'll react to it, and that's all we need to investigate on this Dynasty show. We love you all.
For those on the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel, again, be sure to subscribe first off, and while you're there, if you can comment on this episode specifically, you can let us know some of your favorite trades that you've made if you want to share, and we'll definitely react to those. But B, let us know what your favorite trade from this episode was if you had to pick, or of the 3 nominations we made for Trade of the Year, who you would vote for. We might be able to count some of those YouTube comments as votes as well. So, again, subscribe, check out fantasy6pack.net. And again, the Fantasy Six Pack All Access membership is available at a 15% discount with the promo code F6PPods. So, on behalf of Rahul and Jamie, I'm Kyle Senra, saying thank you all the listeners, thank you all the viewers, thank you both my co-hosts, thank you Joe Bond, and everyone at fantasy6pack.net. This was a fantastic first season of the Dynasty Six Pack. Bye for now. We'll see you all in 2026.